from Bahrain. I'm the founder of the company, which we talked about earlier, Summit 7 Holding, and director in the Fahkro group, which is my family business.
And I'm Harry Allaart. I'm Dutch, that's why the last name is a bit hard to pronounce. I've been with Abdulla, working for Abdulla for the past 2 years now, a bit over 2 years. And I'm managing Summit 7. Yeah.
Okay, great. So my first question to you is, how has the creative art scene in Bahrain changed over recent years?
Can I start?
Yeah, please.
The way I see it has developed a lot over the past, I'd say, maybe 5 to 10 years. There is a lot more interest in art from both individuals and government entities. We see a lot of interest from Ministry of Culture and Tourism related to art, especially with events, and we see a lot of, for example, areas such as Adliya, which have pop-up art displays every I think season, or every year, once a year. The Ministry of Culture has a lot of work being done related to not only art, but also tying it into the heritage of Bahrain and culture, the history of Bahrain, and how it relates to the water, which is similar to, so we'll emphasize on maybe more later when it comes to our business. But so they have a lot of these things going on, like the Spring of Culture, which has a lot of artists from around the world coming in to Bahrain, and I think I've noticed personally a big interest from the local community to do more, more meaningful, more cultural, more things related to art rather than entertainment. So I think the entertainment scene is also changing, becoming more culturally relevant.
And this is expanding in the Gulf, I think, in general.
I think it is, yeah. I see it especially expanding. I think it is a trend, and maybe it's related to the education. So there is a lot more educated, younger, energetic people who are interested in art. We see it in Dubai, for example, and they have actually a whole district which is called the Design District, as well as the national, the Opera House. We see it in Abu Dhabi. About a week ago, they launched, which you probably know of, the Louvre Museum, which is the sort of like the one in Paris. So it is a regional trend, I'd say.
Since I came to Bahrain, I have seen a lot of change actually. It's like Abdullah said, I think it has to do with education, that the younger generation is more expressive, but that also translates into the older generations, and people in general are becoming more expressive. Especially in Bahrain, I've noticed that the people here in the Gulf are exceptionally down to earth compared to the other regions of the Gulf. I don't know why that is, but that's just my opinion. And I think it's Bahrain itself, they're trying to capture this actively also, this urge to express, it's becoming a trend in multiple sectors of Bahrain. I mean, I'm seeing, since I've moved here, twice as many palm trees. And this used to be the island of 1 million palm trees, and so you can see that the country itself is actively organizing events, festivals, all centered around culture, heritage, art, theater, and these type of things.
And a recent one was a Sea Festival, which you might have heard of, and that sort of celebrates Bahrain's history as the Bahrain is an island, and most of its economy was based around the water, especially pearl diving. So the Sea Festival sort of celebrates that history of Bahrain and also ties it into. We were actually we had a stand over there for our new project called the Bahrain Rowing Center.
Yes, of course.
So it celebrates the past and the present.
I think what they're trying to do is make sure that part of their heritage doesn't get lost, but at the same time trying to reconnect the people to the sea, and bring that whole feeling to the sea.
Drives your passion in relation to developments along the bay?
Well, I think this question is best answered by Abdulla because he's the one that made it all happen.
Mm-hmm.
But just to start off, I think the passion really comes from the water first and from reconnecting people to the water. At the same time, it's promoting Bahrain and creating a new hotspot. At least that's my mission, to help Bahrain Bay become the new hotspot of Bahrain for both local and international tourists, actually.
I think that's correct. One of the inspiration was obviously the location is spectacular, and it's a development which is one of a kind, not only in Bahrain but even in the Gulf. Our sort of incentive came because there was a big gap in the market, especially with relation to tourism related to water, and not only for tourists but also for locals. Not enough entertainment, water-related entertainment. Which is also part of the government of Bahrain's and the EDB's mission was to sort of reinvest in this and develop it, So we saw this opportunity. We started with our project in the Four Seasons, which is a floating sort of lounge with boats which go around the bay. And then it developed into the project which you know about, which is the Bahrain Rowing Center, and as well as paddle, which we have over there. We have a tie-up with beach culture, and we tie-ups with Boost Bahrain for events and so on.
I think the location at Four Seasons, when we started that, gave us a lot of inspiration as well, because people start talking about it, and you have a completely unique view of Bahrain. Even locals that came there, and we're talking about fairly significant figures in Bahrain that came over, and even they would mention that just looking at Bahrain from the water, from that particular water, you have all the landmarks around you, and these lights, especially at night, glitter in the water. And it allows you to reconnect to your own country, if you will. And that sparked the passion. And, we started talking, and Abdullah's passion, went forward. And we wanted to, the main aim is basically to lift the country towards, more ocean and water focus. Yeah.
So that takes us to our final question. So, what do you hope to see for the future of the island?
I think for me, I would like to see obviously prosperity, economic prosperity, but also an emphasis on education, having Bahrainis being inspired and being positive and optimistic about the future of the country. I think there are many big opportunities for the island, and I'm optimistic.
So we could think of education in terms of physical education. We mentioned swimming before. When we were
Also,
talking.
well, it's actually a very interesting question, this one, because we did give it a lot of thought in the strategy about Summit 7. And what we've done is we're targeting all types of profiles to reach a certain end goal. And you're talking about, first of all, it's leisure.
Okay.
On the water for all types of social groups. You know, we have a very luxury concept, but also a economic concept, so that everybody can experience this. On the other hand, it's activity. So we partnered up with Beach Culture, who can do, who does a lot of water sports, non-motorized though. In the bay, so you're talking yoga on paddle boards, for instance, you know, in the heart of Bahrain, if you ask me. And on the other side, we have Bahrain Rowing and Canoe Center, BRC, which is a significant part of the strategy, if you ask me, because, you know, first of all, it's physical education, like you said. It allows healthy competition between, because we have professional rowing boats, but we also have dragon boats, and a range of different types of boats. And this allows, for instance, bigger companies to compete, navy bases to compete against each other, but also bid for international competitions, you know, universities against each other, which will create a very strong sense of belonging, which increases the overall morale of the people of Bahrain, you know, of the locals themselves, so that they feel more connected to each other as well and get this sense of patriotism.
And around the bay, it seems to be quite non-motorized in terms of the activities. Is that what?
Yeah,
they aim for here?
that's the intention of the developer, is to have it sort of family friendly as well. They're building a beach as well in the Four Seasons. So the intention is for it to be kind of a safe, you know, environment for families, for everyone.
And there's environmental considerations as
of
well.
course, environmental is a big one, is a key aspect, and as you know, Bahrain Bay, you've seen, is also tied to art and heritage. You've seen some of the sculptures there, maybe, and this is just part of the whole vision of Bahrain Bay in the country.
And there's a lot of unique architecture in such a small space.
Correct.
I think. Yeah.
They tied up with a sculptor, local sculptor, who did a lot of the artwork there. I think his name is Fuad or something. Something like that. And so I mean, it's,
so we can consider the future to be quite bright for Bahrain, I think.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
That's good.